Acidification, by Cynthia Housianitis.
I'm Lee, the oyster, and I'm here to tell you about ocean acidification and its effects on oceans and marine life. Every day, across the world, human combustion of fossil fuel, deforestation, and transportation pour carbon dioxide out into the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide is then dissolved into the oceans. When carbon dioxide is dissolved, it changes the very chemistry of our oceans, making it have lower pH levels, which makes the oceans more acidic.
How might we distinguish the differences between acidic, neutral, or alkaline levels in the ocean water?
This chemical alteration in the water has consequences for the marine ecosystem. It could contribute to the reduction in the level of sea plankton, which is the foundation in the ocean food chain. Everything else that depends on them for food could also start to disappear. There are organisms that use calcium carbonate to form their shells. Other than plankton, organisms with calcium carbonate shells include crustaceans, oysters, clams, mollusks, and tortoises. But if the water becomes more acidic, these organisms will not be able to form their shells.
Why do increasing levels of acid in the ocean potentially affect the food web?
To see the effects of higher levels of acid in the ocean, this experiment will illustrate what can happen to organisms with calcium carbonate shells and exoskeletons. Instead of using shells, eggs, which also contain calcium carbonate, will be used. For this investigation, you will need 2 jars, labeled as jar number 1 and jar number 2, 2 eggs, plastic wrap, measuring cup, and rubber bands. Jar number 1, which is neutral, will contain 2 cups of seawater. Jar number 2, which is acidic, will contain 1 cup of seawater and 1 cup of white vinegar. Pour 2 cups of seawater into jar number 1. It's okay if it spills a little, but you can use a funnel if needed. Do the same for jar number 2, but pour 1 cup of seawater and 1 cup of vinegar. Put the egg in the jar, but make sure you do not drop it. Instead use tongs, and carefully place the egg in each jar. Next, cover the jars with plastic wrap, and seal it shut with rubber bands around the lid of the jar. This is what the finished product will look like. Jar number 1 is neutral, and jar number 2 is acidic. In jar number 1, the egg is not affected by the seawater because it is a neutral. Therefore, it will not break down the shell. On the other hand, jar number 2 is already producing bubbles because the acidic mixture is breaking down the eggshell. Wow, I don't want to be anywhere near this stuff. Here are some more results from this experiment. It is evident that the acidic seawater will dissolve the calcium carbonate found in the eggshell.
To what extent does ocean acidification affect organisms with calcium carbonate shells and exoskeletons?
Music by Cynthia and Jason Housianitis. Clay models and pictures by Cynthia Housianitis. Information about ocean acidification from National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Ocean acidification demonstration. This is for 5th grade, with a focus on Virginia SOL 5.1 and 5.6.